My name is Daniel Harper, and until that Tuesday morning, I believed my neighborhood was one of the safest places a family could live. Quiet streets, kids riding bikes after dinner, the kind of place where neighbors borrow sugar and return it with cookies. My wife Emma and I moved here 6 years ago when our twins were born. Lily and Noah had just started first grade that fall, and we wanted them to grow up somewhere calm, somewhere normal. Our house sits near the end of a cul-de-sac. Across the street lives a man named Tom Grady. Tom is a police officer, not the loud, intimidating kind you see in movies. He's the quiet type. Mid-40s, tall, serious face, but kind eyes. He mows his lawn every Saturday at exactly 9 a.m. and waves politely to everyone. We weren't close friends, but we trusted him. If there's one neighbor you want living across the street, it's a cop. At least, that's what I used to think. The message came at 4:03 a.m. I know the exact time because it woke me up. My phone vibrated on the nightstand, rattling against the wood. At first I ignored it. No good news ever arrives at 4 in the morning. Then it buzzed again. I reached over, half asleep, expecting spam or some emergency alert. Instead, I saw Tom's name. That immediately made my stomach tighten. Tom had never texted me before, not once. I opened the message. It was short, very short. Don't let your kids go to school today. That was it. No explanation, no greeting, just that. For a moment I thought maybe I was still dreaming. I rubbed my eyes and read it again. Don't let your kids go to school today. Emma stirred beside me. Who is it? She murmured. Tom, I said quietly. She opened one eye. The cop? Yeah. What did he say? I hesitated before answering. Then I handed her the phone. She squinted at the screen. Is this a joke? I don't think Tom jokes at 4 in the morning. We lay there in silence for a moment. Emma was the first to speak again. Did something happen at the school? I don't know. Maybe a gas leak or construction. Maybe. But the message didn't feel like that. If it were something simple, Tom would have said more. He would have explained. Instead, he sent 6 words and nothing else. I typed a reply. Why? The message delivered instantly, but no answer came. Minutes passed. The room felt strangely quiet. Finally, Emma sighed. Maybe he sent it to the wrong person. I nodded slowly. Yeah, maybe. Still, neither of us went back to sleep. By 6:30 a.m., the house was awake. Lily and Noah came downstairs arguing about cereal flavors like they always did. Normal. Everything felt normal. Sunlight filled the kitchen. The coffee maker hummed. The morning news played softly in the background. And yet, my eyes kept drifting to my phone. Still no reply from Tom. Emma finally said what we were both thinking. Maybe we should keep them home. I looked at her. For a text message? For a text from a police officer? She had a point, but something about the situation still didn't make sense. If there was danger, I said, the school would send an alert. Unless they don't know yet. That thought sent a small chill down my spine. At 7:15, I stepped outside to check something. Tom's driveway. His police cruiser was gone, which wasn't unusual, except his porch light was still on, and his front door was slightly open. I stared at it for a moment. Then my phone buzzed again, a new message, from Tom. My chest tightened as I opened it. This time the text was longer, but it didn't make me feel better, not even close. It said, I can't explain yet. Just trust me. Keep your kids home. At that moment, I realized something. Tom wasn't guessing. He wasn't being cautious. He was warning us. and for the first time that morning, I felt real fear. What I didn't know yet was this: by 10 a.m., the entire town would be surrounded by police, and the reason Tom sent that message would make every parent in our neighborhood sick to their stomach. By 7:40 a.m., the house felt different. The twins were already dressed for school. Their backpacks sat by the front door, shoes lined up neatly like every other weekday. Except today, something was wrong. Emma poured coffee, but barely drank it. I kept checking my phone, hoping Tom would finally explain what was going on. He didn't. "Maybe we should just call the school," Emma said. I nodded and grabbed the phone. The line rang longer than usual. Finally, someone answered. The school receptionist, Mrs. Alvarez. Her voice sounded completely normal. "Good morning, Maple Ridge Elementary." "Hi, this is Daniel Harper. I just wanted to check if everything's okay today." "Of course," she said pleasantly. "Why wouldn't it be?" I hesitated. "Well, we heard there might be some kind of issue." She laughed softly. "No, everything is normal. Buses are already arriving." I thanked her and hung up. Emma looked at me expectantly. "Everything's fine," I said. "Then why would Tom send that message?" That question sat between us like a heavy stone. Across the room, Noah called out, "Dad, are we late?" Lily zipped up her backpack. "Mrs. Parker said we have a math test today." Emma and I looked at each other. This was the moment. Send them to school. Or not. I made the decision. "You're staying home today," I told them. Both kids froze. "What?" Lily said immediately. "But we have school." "I know," I said calmly. "Just a family day." Noah grinned instantly. "Yes," Lily was less convinced. "This is weird," Emma forced a smile. "Just trust us." The kids reluctantly accepted it, though Lily kept muttering about missing her math test. I tried to ignore the knot forming in my stomach. At 8:10 a.m., I stepped outside again. Several school buses were driving through the neighborhood, stopping at corners like always. Children climbed aboard. Parents waved goodbye. Normal. Too normal. I looked toward Tom's house again. Still empty. Still quiet. The open front door was now closed. That made my unease worse somehow. At 8:45 a.m., my phone buzzed again. Another message from Tom. But this time, it wasn't a warning. It was a question. "Did your kids stay home?" I replied immediately. "Yes, what's going on?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, the message arrived. "Good." That was it. Just one word. Good. Emma watched my face carefully. "What did he say?" "He asked if the kids stayed home." "And?" "He said, good." Her expression hardened. "That's not reassuring." "No," I admitted. "It's not." By 9:20 a.m., strange things started happening. The first police car drove slowly down our street. Then another, not speeding, not flashing lights, just cruising slowly, observing. Emma noticed it too. "Daniel, I see them." A helicopter began circling in the distance, low, too low. That was when my phone started buzzing with neighborhood notifications. Our community group chat exploded. Messages came in rapidly. Why are there so many police cars? Does anyone know what's happening near the elementary school? Helicopter over Oak Ridge Park right now. Emma read over my shoulder. Oh my God! I felt my heartbeat rising. Something was very wrong. Then at 9:47 a.m., a new message appeared in the chat from a mother named Sarah who lived 2 blocks away. Her message made my stomach drop. It said, "The school just went into lockdown." Emma gasped. "What does that mean?" I already knew.
Lockdown meant no one in, no one out, doors locked, students hiding in classrooms, teachers barricading doors. It meant danger, real danger. My phone rang suddenly. Unknown number. I answered immediately. Hello? A calm male voice spoke. Mr. Harper, this is Officer Reynolds with the County Police Department. My heart skipped. Yes? We're contacting parents in the immediate area. Your neighbor, Officer Tom Grady, listed your family. My throat felt dry. Is everything okay? There was a pause. Then he said something that made the room feel colder. Sir, we believe there may be an armed suspect heading toward Maple Ridge Elementary. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. The twins were playing in the living room, completely unaware. What kind of suspect? I asked quietly. Another pause, longer this time. Then the officer said, someone who specifically mentioned the school. My chest tightened, and suddenly Tom's message from 4 a.m. made horrifying sense. But the real nightmare hadn't even started yet, because 10 minutes later, we would learn who the suspect actually was.
For a moment after the officer hung up, the house felt completely silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence, the heavy kind, the kind that presses against your chest. Emma was staring at me. What did he say? She whispered. I looked toward the living room where Lily and Noah were sitting on the floor building something out of Lego bricks. They were laughing about something small and silly. They had no idea how close they might have come to being inside that school right now. I lowered my voice. There's an armed suspect heading toward Maple Ridge Elementary. Emma's face went pale. Armed? Yes. She instinctively looked toward the kids. Do they know who it is? I shook my head. They didn't say. Emma sat down slowly at the kitchen table. Oh my God, Daniel. My phone buzzed again. The neighborhood group chat had completely exploded now. Dozens of messages every minute. Parents asking questions. Parents panicking. One message caught my eye immediately. A mother named Jessica wrote, My daughter just texted me from inside the classroom. The teacher locked the door and turned off the lights. Emma read it over my shoulder. Her hand started trembling. Those poor kids. Another message appeared seconds later. Police are everywhere near the school. Then another. My son says they heard something outside. Emma grabbed my arm. Daniel, what if someone gets hurt? I didn't know what to say. The truth was, I was thinking the same thing, but something else kept replaying in my mind. Tom's message at 4 a.m. He didn't say, maybe. He didn't say, be careful. He said, don't let your kids go to school, which meant he already knew something was coming. Hours before anyone else did. At 9:58 a.m., a police helicopter roared directly overhead. This time it wasn't distant. It was right above our neighborhood. Lily ran into the kitchen. Dad, why is there a helicopter? Emma forced a smile. Just police doing their job, honey. Noah followed her. Is something bad happening? I knelt down in front of them. No, I said calmly. Everything's okay. But even as I said it, I wasn't sure it was true. Then my phone buzzed again. Tom. My hands felt cold as I opened the message. Stay inside. Lock your doors. That was new. My heart started beating faster. I replied immediately. What's happening? This time, he answered almost instantly. But the message made my stomach twist. They think he's in our neighborhood. I looked up at Emma. Her eyes widened when she saw my expression. What? They think the suspect is here. In our neighborhood? I nodded slowly. Across the room, the twins had started watching cartoons again, completely unaware of the tension filling the house. Emma rushed to the front door and locked it, then the back door, then the sliding patio door. Every lock clicked loudly in the quiet house. At 10:06 a.m., the siren started. Not one, dozens. Police cars flooded the streets nearby. I stepped carefully to the front window and peeked through the blinds. 3 patrol cars were parked at the end of our street. Officers were stepping out slowly, hands on their weapons. Emma's voice came from behind me. "Daniel." "What?" Her voice sounded thin. "You need to see this." She was staring at her phone, at a news alert. The headline alone made my blood run cold. It read, "Police search for armed man threatening local elementary school." Below it was a photo, a grainy security camera image. The suspect was wearing a dark hoodie and a baseball cap pulled low. But even through the blurry image, something about the man looked familiar, uncomfortably familiar. Emma whispered the thought I hadn't said out loud yet. "Daniel, doesn't he look like someone from around here?" My stomach tightened, because the more I stared at that photo, the more I realized something terrifying. I had seen that man before, not just once, many times. In fact, he lived only 3 houses away from us. My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Emma noticed immediately. "Daniel, what is it?" I held the phone up again and zoomed into the photo. The man's face wasn't completely visible, but the build, the posture, the baseball cap with the curved brim, I had seen that exact cap dozens of times. "Emma," I said slowly, "I think I know who that is." Her eyes widened. "Who?" I swallowed. "Jason Keller." The name hung in the air like a thunderclap. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. "No, no way." But deep down, we both knew it made sense. Jason Keller lived 3 houses down the street. He was about 35, quiet, kept mostly to himself. People in the neighborhood described him as a little strange, but nothing alarming. He had moved in about 2 years earlier. He rarely talked to anyone, but he always watched. That's what I remembered most. Watching. Whenever the school bus stopped near the corner, Jason would sometimes be outside his house, just standing there. At the time, I thought nothing of it. Now my stomach twisted remembering those moments. Emma whispered, "You think he's the one threatening the school?" "I don't know," I said, but the uneasy feeling in my chest said otherwise. Then my phone buzzed again. Another message from Tom. I opened it immediately. "Daniel, are you home?" "Yes." 3 dots appeared instantly. Then the next message arrived, and it made my pulse spike. "Do not go outside. We're searching houses on your block." Emma's eyes widened when she read it. "They're searching the neighborhood." I nodded. "Which means they think he's really here." A loud engine noise suddenly filled the street. I carefully lifted the edge of the blinds again. An armored police vehicle had rolled into our cul-de-sac. Officers stepped out wearing tactical gear, helmets, rifles. Emma gasped softly. Oh my God. I had never seen anything like it in our quiet neighborhood. One of the officers knocked on the house across the street, then the next, working their way toward us, slowly, carefully, every movement deliberate. Behind us, Lily's voice came from the living room. "Dad, why are there police outside?" I turned quickly. The twins were now standing near the hallway, looking worried. Emma forced another calm voice. "They're just checking something in the neighborhood." Noah frowned. "Like what?" "Just police work." They didn't look convinced. Kids are smarter than we think. Then something happened that made my stomach drop even further. A police officer stepped onto our driveway. He knocked firmly on the front door. Emma and I looked at each other. I opened the door slowly. The officer was wearing body armor and holding a radio. "Mr. Harper?" "Yes. We need everyone inside your house to stay away from windows." My heart tightened. "Is the suspect nearby?" The officer hesitated. Then he said something that sent a chill straight down my spine. "We believe he may be hiding in this block." Emma gasped behind me. "How close?" I asked. The officer glanced down the street, then back at me. "Very close." Before I could ask anything else, his radio crackled loudly. A voice shouted through the static, "Unit 12, possible sighting near Oak Ridge Lane. Oak Ridge Lane." My stomach twisted again. That was our street. The officer immediately turned and ran back toward the other officers. Within seconds, police began moving quickly toward the end of the block. Emma grabbed my arm. "Daniel?" I didn't answer, because at that exact moment, I saw something move in the backyard, just beyond the fence. A shadow. Someone was there, and suddenly I realized something horrifying. The armed suspect might not just be in our neighborhood. He might be in our yard. For a second, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. The backyard was quiet. The morning sunlight reflected off the fence. The swing set moved slightly in the breeze, but then I saw it again. Movement. Behind the tall hedge near the back fence. Someone was crouching there. My entire body went cold. Emma noticed my expression immediately. "Daniel, what's wrong?" I raised a hand quickly, signaling her to stay quiet. Slowly, carefully, I stepped away from the door and walked toward the hallway window that faced the backyard. My heart was pounding so loudly it felt like it might give us away. I lifted the edge of the curtain just a few centimeters, and then I saw him clearly. A man crouched low behind a hedge. Dark hoodie, baseball cap pulled down, breathing heavily. It was him, Jason Keller, the same man from the news photo, the same man who lived 3 houses down, and in that moment, every horrible possibility became real. Emma whispered behind me, "Daniel?" I turned slowly. "He's here." Her face drained of color. "Here? Where?" "In the backyard." She covered her mouth to stop a gasp. The twins were still in the living room only 20 feet away. Completely unaware, Emma's voice trembled. "What do we do?" I forced myself to think. If Jason was hiding there, it meant one thing. He was running from the police, and if he realized we had seen him, things could become dangerous very quickly. My phone vibrated in my hand. Tom again. I opened the message. "Police are moving toward Keller's house." My stomach tightened. Jason wasn't at his house. He was here, which meant the police were about to search the wrong place. I typed quickly, "Tom, he's in my backyard." The message sent. Seconds passed. They felt like minutes. Emma was holding my arm so tightly it hurt. Finally, my phone buzzed again. Tom's reply appeared. "Do not approach him. Stay inside. Officers are coming." I exhaled slowly. Help was coming. But we still had to get through the next few minutes, and those minutes suddenly became much worse, because behind us, Noah said something that made my heart nearly stop. "Dad, who's that man outside?" I turned instantly. Both kids were now standing near the sliding glass door that led to the backyard. Noah had pulled the curtain slightly open. From where they stood, Jason could probably see them. "Step away from the door," I said quickly, too quickly.
This sudden movement must have caught Jason's attention, because the shadow behind the hedge moved again, and then, very slowly, Jason Keller stood up. For the first time, I saw his face clearly. He looked terrified, sweating, eyes darting around like an animal being hunted, and in his hand was a gun. Emma gasped quietly. The kids froze. Jason looked directly toward the house, toward us. For a terrifying second, I thought he might run, or worse, but instead, he raised one finger to his lips, a silent signal. Don't make a sound. My blood ran cold, because at that moment, I realized something even more disturbing than the gun. Jason didn't look like a man preparing to attack a school. He looked like a man running for his life. And suddenly, I wasn't sure the police were chasing the right person at all.
For several seconds, no one in the house moved. Jason stood in our backyard, breathing hard, the gun still hanging loosely in his hand, but he wasn't pointing it at us. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't acting like someone about to attack anyone. He looked desperate. Emma whispered so quietly I barely heard her. "Daniel, he's looking at the kids." I stepped forward slowly and moved between Jason and the twins. "Lily, Noah," I said calmly, "go to your rooms. Right now." "But," Lily started. "Now." Something in my voice must have convinced them. They ran down the hallway without another word. Emma quickly closed the curtain over the glass door. For a moment, we just stood there, breathing. Then my phone vibrated again. "Tom." I opened the message. "Units are approaching your street. Stay calm." I typed quickly. "He's still in my backyard." The reply came instantly. "We know," Emma whispered. "They know?" I nodded. But something about that answer bothered me. If they knew Jason was here, why hadn't they surrounded the yard yet? Why was everything still so quiet? Outside, Jason slowly crouched down again behind the hedge. He looked toward the street, not toward the house, like he was waiting for something, or someone. Emma grabbed my arm. "Daniel, what if he comes inside?" The thought had already crossed my mind. I quickly locked the sliding door. Then I checked the back door again. Locked. Every window locked. Still, my eyes kept drifting back toward the backyard. Jason hadn't moved. He just sat there, staring toward the street. And then something happened that made my stomach twist again. Police sirens suddenly grew louder, much louder. Multiple vehicles. They were coming directly toward our block. Jason heard them too. His head snapped toward the sound. His breathing became faster. Panicked. He stood up again. For a second, I thought he might run across the yard. But instead, he looked directly at the house again. At me. His eyes were wide, terrified. Then he did something completely unexpected. He shook his head, slowly, like he was trying to warn me about something. Emma whispered, "What is he doing?" I don't know, but my instincts were screaming now. Something about this situation didn't feel right, not at all. Jason looked like a hunted man, not a hunter. And then my phone rang again. This time it wasn't Tom. It was the same police officer who had called earlier. Officer Reynolds. I answered quickly. "Hello?" His voice was urgent. "Mr. Harper, we need you to stay calm and remain inside." "I am," I said. "The suspect is still in my backyard." There was a pause. Then Reynolds said something that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. "Sir, listen carefully." His voice dropped lower. "We're receiving conflicting information about this suspect." My stomach tightened. What does that mean? Another pause. Then he said the words that changed everything. "We're not sure Jason Keller is actually the one who threatened the school." I felt the room spin slightly. "What?" Emma stared at me. "What did he say?" But before I could answer, a loud shout suddenly echoed from outside. "Police! Don't move!" Emma gasped. I ran to the window and lifted the blinds just enough to see. Officers were rushing into our backyard, weapons raised. Jason froze, hands slowly rising. But in that moment, I noticed something chilling. Jason wasn't looking at the police. He was staring toward the street, toward something behind them, and his face showed pure terror. Because whoever the police thought they were catching, Jason clearly believed the real danger was still out there. Everything happened in seconds. Police officers rushed into the backyard, shouting commands. "Drop the weapon! Get on the ground!" Jason didn't run. He didn't fight. Slowly, carefully, he placed the gun on the grass and raised both hands. "I'm not the one!" he shouted desperately. His voice cracked. "I didn't threaten the school." Two officers pushed him to the ground and handcuffed him quickly. Emma gripped my arm. "They caught him!" But the relief didn't come. Not yet. Because Jason kept shouting the same thing over and over. "You've got the wrong guy. I was trying to stop him." The officers ignored him. One of them grabbed the gun and secured it. Another officer spoke into a radio. "Suspect detained." But Jason kept struggling. "Listen to me," he yelled. "He's already there." That sentence made my stomach twist. Already where? At that moment, Tom appeared. He ran into the yard from the side gate, breathing hard. Even through the window, I could see the tension on his face. He walked straight to Jason. "What are you talking about?" Tom demanded. Jason looked up at him with wide, frantic eyes. "The guy from the van!" Jason shouted. "The white van!" Tom froze, just for a second, but I saw it, and it scared me. "Explain," Tom said sharply. Jason spoke quickly, words tumbling over each other. "I heard him last night. He was parked behind the school, talking on the phone about kids. About today," Emma whispered behind me. "Oh my God," Jason continued. "I tried to call the police, but the line dropped. I went to follow him this morning, but he saw me. That's why I ran." Tom's expression darkened. "What van?" Jason looked desperate. "White cargo van, parked behind Maple Ridge Elementary." Tom grabbed his radio immediately. "This is Officer Grady. Do we have units checking a white cargo van near the school?" Static crackled. Then a voice responded. "Negative. All units are focused on Keller." Tom's face turned pale. For the first time since this started, he looked truly afraid. He turned toward the officers holding Jason. "Get him up." "But he's the suspect," one officer started. "No," Tom snapped. "Something's wrong." Emma grabbed my arm again. "Daniel, what's happening?" I didn't answer, because at that exact moment, my phone buzzed with a breaking news alert. I opened it quickly. The headline made my blood run cold. "Police evacuate Maple Ridge Elementary after suspicious vehicle found." Emma read it over my shoulder. Her voice barely came out. "The van." Outside, Tom was already speaking urgently into his radio. "All units, check the school parking lot now." Jason was still sitting on the grass, breathing hard, but he wasn't looking scared anymore. He looked relieved, because if what he said was true, then the man the police had been hunting all morning was never in our neighborhood at all. He had been at the school the entire time, and suddenly I understood why Tom sent that message at 4 a.m. Because whatever was in that van, Tom suspected it hours before anyone else did. But now it might already be too late. The backyard exploded with activity. Officers who had just arrested Jason were suddenly talking over each other, radios crackling with urgent voices. Tom grabbed his radio again. Dispatch confirmed the situation at Maple Ridge Elementary. Static filled the air. Then a tense voice came through. Unit 7 reports suspicious white cargo van located in the staff parking lot. Bomb squad requested. Emma gasped behind me. A bomb? My heart dropped into my stomach. Outside, Tom turned back toward Jason. You're telling me you saw this van last night? He demanded. Jason nodded quickly. Yes, around midnight, behind the school. Why didn't you report it properly? I tried, Jason said desperately, but the call dropped, and I thought I scared the guy when I drove past him. Tom stared at him for a moment, trying to decide if he believed him. Jason continued quickly. This morning, I saw the same van again near Oak Ridge Road. I followed it, but the driver noticed me. That's why you ran into the neighborhood? Tom asked. Yes, Jason said. I thought if I stayed out in the open, he might see me again. Emma whispered behind me. Oh my God, he was hiding from the real suspect. I felt a heavy knot in my chest. All morning, the police had been chasing the wrong man. Tom ran a hand through his hair and spoke into his radio again. All units, listen carefully. Keller might be a witness, not the suspect. One officer nearby muttered something under his breath. Another helped Jason slowly to his feet. For the first time since the police arrived, the tension in the yard shifted, but it wasn't relief. It was fear, because the real threat was still at the school. My phone buzzed again. The neighborhood group chat was exploding with messages. Parents were panicking. My son says police dogs are outside the school. Teachers won't let anyone leave. Helicopters everywhere. Emma scrolled through the messages with shaking hands. Those kids are still inside. I looked at the clock on the wall. 10:18 a.m. The school had been in lockdown for almost half an hour. Every minute mattered. Outside, Tom suddenly turned toward our house. He knocked quickly on the door. I opened it immediately. His face looked tense, more tense than I had ever seen it. Daniel, he said, I need to ask you something. Anything. Did Jason come onto your property before or after the police arrived? Before, I said. He was hiding in the backyard. Tom nodded slowly. Did he say anything to you? Just, told us to stay quiet. Tom glanced back toward the yard where officers were now speaking with Jason more calmly. Then Tom said something that made my stomach twist again. If Jason is telling the truth, we might be dealing with something much worse than we thought. Emma spoke from behind me. What do you mean? Tom hesitated. Then he lowered his voice. The van at the school might be rigged with explosives. Emma spoke from behind me. What do you mean? Tom hesitated. Then he lowered his voice. The van at the school might be rigged with explosives. Emma's face went completely pale. And the driver? I asked. That's the problem, Tom said quietly. No one has seen him yet. A chill ran down my spine, because if the van was already parked and the driver had disappeared, then there was only one terrifying possibility. The man responsible might already be inside the school. And suddenly, every parent in our town was thinking the same horrifying thought. What if the threat wasn't a bomb, but the person who planted it? The moment Tom said those words, the air inside my house felt colder. What do you mean he might be inside the school? Emma asked, her voice barely steady. Tom rubbed his forehead, clearly thinking fast. "We don't know for sure," he said, "but if someone left a van with explosives in the parking lot, they may not be planning to detonate it remotely." My stomach tightened. "They might want to trigger panic first," Emma whispered. "Oh my God." Tom's radio crackled again. A tense voice came through. "Bomb squad has arrived at Maple Ridge Elementary. School still in lockdown. Teachers securing students." Tom responded immediately. "Copy. Any sign of the driver?" "Negative." The word hung in the air like a warning. No sign, which meant the suspect could be anywhere. Behind Tom, Jason was now sitting on a chair one of the officers had brought out. His hands were still cuffed, but they had loosened them. An officer was questioning him again. Tom glanced toward him. "Stay inside," he told us, "and keep the kids away from the windows." I nodded. "Tom, thank you for the message this morning." He gave a small, tired nod. "I had a bad feeling last night." "About the van?" Tom looked toward the street before answering. "About something worse." Before I could ask what he meant, he turned and hurried back toward the officers. Emma closed the door slowly. The house felt strangely quiet again, but now it wasn't calm. It was waiting. In the living room, Lily and Noah were whispering to each other. They had clearly noticed the police activity outside. Lily looked at me nervously. "Dad, are we in trouble?" "No," I said gently. "Everything's okay, but kids always know when adults are lying." Noah asked quietly, "Is it about our school?" Emma sat beside them and hugged both kids. "Your teachers are taking good care of everyone," she said softly. "We're just staying home today." The twins nodded, but the worry stayed on their faces. At 10:31 a.m., another news alert appeared on my phone. My heart pounded as I opened it. "Police confirm suspicious device found in van at Maple Ridge Elementary." Emma read the headline too. "A device. That means it's real," I said. Outside, the helicopter circled again, louder than before. The entire neighborhood seemed frozen. Then suddenly, Tom's radio burst with frantic voices, multiple officers speaking at once. One voice cut through clearly. "Unit 5 reporting. Possible suspicious person inside the school." Emma gasped. Tom shouted into his radio. "Location. Second floor hallway near the science wing." My heart started racing because Maple Ridge Elementary only had one second floor hallway, and that hallway was directly above the cafeteria, where dozens of children would normally be around lunchtime. Emma grabbed my arm. "Daniel, those kids." Before I could answer, Tom ran past our house toward his patrol car. He jumped in and sped away, sirens screaming. Within seconds, other police vehicles followed. Jason watched them leave from the yard, and for the first time all morning, he spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. "I told you," he said breathlessly. "The guy wasn't outside." One officer looked at him sharply. "Then where is he?" Jason swallowed. His voice dropped to a whisper. "He was planning to go inside." The officer frowned. "How do you know that?" Jason looked toward the road where the police cars had disappeared. Then he said something that made the hair on my arms stand up. "Because last night, I heard him say it on the phone." The officer leaned closer. "What exactly did he say?" Jason took a deep breath, then repeated the sentence slowly. The sentence that made the entire